Love this topic that we're talking about today. So I am pumped to talk about this.
Yes, we're talking about leadership, leading with audacious confidence. So my first question for you is, what is your leadership philosophy?
Oh, that's a tough one. She did not give me any
No prep.
notes beforehand. No prep.
No prep.
So what is my definition of leadership?
How to treat people. It boils down to how to anticipate, how to project, to understand the metrics of business as well as the metrics of people, right?
Right.
And that balance is always so important. And I think the best leaders, regardless of if it's, we think of leadership, we think of leaders, we think of politics, or we think of maybe
Right.
business, we think of the richest people in the world. We don't always think of, the person leading a Girl Scout troop. We don't think of the person, that's leading even an HOA. HOAs don't always get
That's right.
reputations, but we don't look at the person that basically has given up their time to make things better.
Well, I would tell you this, my leadership style has changed over time. And
Changed or evolved?
Evolved, sure, over time. And, it's certainly, post Arsht Center, as I've, thought about, leadership in a different way. I think about, how I would draw upon, maybe what I liked about the way I led, maybe what I didn't like, and try to, take the best of and really try to, lead in a new and refreshing way. I think that one of the number one things I feel I've learned over time is the notion of servant leadership.
Well, big topic.
Yes.
And, I was thinking about it from a developmental perspective, like what did I think of it as a child? How did I relate to it as I have grown? And now in this particular new role, how I think of it. And for sure, everybody can be a leader.
You want to be able to give them the direction at which to take. You said the word autonomy, and that's part of it. But you want to empower them to share these ideas and feel safe around sharing ideas. Failure's acceptable.
Right.
In fact, encouraged across many of these companies. And that's very different
Fail
from
fast
other
and
organizations.
fail forward.
Fail fast, fail forward. It's okay to fail. They celebrate failure. Some of them, I've had someone on the show not too long ago, they said, at the end of the year, yes, we have great teams that are celebrated. We have individuals that are celebrated, but we also celebrate the biggest failures because we want people to know that it's okay to fail, because those failures, every time they can look at it and say, well, it allowed us to move forward in some other way. And that was really important for us this past year. So thank you to everyone that was a part of this team. And thank you to everyone that's moving forward at this kind of pace.
So I moved to California and I was just lost. I had a job and my dad got me a job. We reconnected later in life, but I was just still lost. And so I ended up losing that job, being homeless. I went through all my savings. And so here I'm in Northern California. I didn't really know anyone. And I lost my house. I was broke and I was living in my car.
At least you had a car.
I did. I did have a car.
So I was just a tiny kid. Well, not tiny, but I was pretty little. Let's just put it that way. So Colby Corp helps people understand a part of themselves that basically nobody else helps them understand. It's called the cognitive part of the mind. So this concept goes back thousands of years. But Kathy Colby, my mom, was the first person to figure out, kind of put understanding around what this cognitive part of the mind is, and very importantly, figure out how to measure it, how to look into people and say, what are your natural inborn instinctive strengths in terms of the way you take action? That's what conation is. So it's not the emotional feeling side of our minds. It's also not the cognitive, smarts, intelligence side. It's this doing, taking action side of who we are. And we seem to be born with these ingrained takes on how we take action. So we all have a pattern and a style for that. And we help people figure that out.
Leadership is one of those things, much like confidence, that people think you're either born with or you're not born with. And I totally disagree, because confidence is something that you can build. In fact, it is built. And it's something that you can continue to build and grow and develop and be unshakable in and be audacious in. And so when looking at leadership now, there are some really great leaders, people who have stepped out and done things and led their companies and led their organizations and led a movement and done really amazing things with their own leadership. And the lessons that they've learned through that journey are so important in how they shape their own confidence. And we can take away from their journey some of their lessons and see ourselves in that, and encouraged or be encouraged to step out a little bolder in our own lives, to lead a movement, to lead an organization, to build a company, or to lead a charity, a nonprofit. You know, there are so many areas of leadership that we can just explore this idea of audacious confidence with. And I'm super excited to find those leaders, to step out boldly myself and start talking to them and ask them questions and ask them to be on the show so that they can influence, educate, inspire, and entertain you, the audience. So I hope you'll join me on this journey of leading with audacious confidence as I launch this podcast and really start to get the lessons from these leaders that I've chosen